Good evening, everybody. It's Minister Ray, and welcome to our Oak Seed study session. I am so glad that you all decided to tune in tonight. Listen, I won't hold you long. We'll be brief, but we'll be straight to the point. See, tonight we're still in our life lesson series, so we are going to understand about the heart. So our lesson for tonight is an honest heart. Yeah, simple enough, right? Well, while it's simple enough, a dishonest heart can lead you further away from God. And if your dishonest heart leads you further away from God, that means that you'll end up having problems and you'll have some serious repercussions. So let me ask you this question before we get started. Wait a second. I need you to do me a favor. Turn to Acts chapter 5, verses 1 through 4. Yes, we're in the New Testament. And we are in the New Testament, and we're going to learn about a man named Ananias and his wife Sapphira. Now, let me ask you this really quick question, because it's actually a really good question, and it'll help you understand something. Do you know what a puddle is? Of course you know what a puddle is. Okay, do you know what a lake is? Hello, yes, we live around water and lakes all the time. Yeah, don't go in. Gators might be in there. Hello, it's the culture and the environment. So, guess what? If you take a rock and you throw it in a puddle, will it move or will it drop down? Yeah, it'll drop down, right? Okay, so when you throw a rock into a lake, will it drop down or will it keep moving? Well, when I was growing up, we used to call it skipping rocks. So that's when you would toss a rock sideways into the water and it would bounce on top of the water before it dropped down into the lake. Now, here's the thing about that. Eventually, the rock will sink. Yes, that's what it's going to do. But there's something else that's happening on top of the water. You'll see waves start to go out. And they start out really, really small, where the rock is, and then they grow and they grow. That's called the ripple effect. And that means that even though you dropped that rock in one location, it grew beyond something that you could even control. See, we're talking about an honest heart. So let's find out what happens when you're dishonest. And remember, God always sees and knows your heart. So Acts chapter 5, verses 1 through 4. And we learn about a man named Ananias. Now, a little bit of backdrop is that Ananias is married. Yeah, he's married, right? And he's married to a woman named Sapphira. Now, they ended up being property owners, which was really good. You know, I got to give you the highlights and the reels. So they ended up being property owners. They owned a lot of land and they sold their land. Now, you would think because they sold their land that they could do whatever they want. But what actually happened is they wanted a lot of people to see them and give them personal accolades for what they were doing. And this was good, but it was bad at the same time because they wanted praise. They wanted to be glory thieves. We talked about that before. So let's go to the word. Let's see what it says. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. But there was a certain man named Ananias who, with his wife Sapphira, sold some property. Told you that part. He brought part of the money to the apostles, claiming it was the full amount. Did he tell the truth? No, because the Bible just told us he gave part. Okay, let's go. Now, he could have avoided this situation had he just told the truth. Sometimes, just tell the truth. It really does make a difference. Okay, let's keep going. With his wife's consent, he kept the rest. Then Peter said, Ananias, why have you let Satan fill your heart? You lied to the Holy Spirit and you kept some of the money for yourself. The property was yours to sell or not to sell as you wished. And after selling it, the money was also yours to give away. How could you do a thing like this? You weren't lying to us, but to God. You guys, I read that and it was powerful. And it was powerful for several reasons. Number one, what's in your heart? See, Peter wanted to make sure that he understood, I don't care about what you have. I care about the fact that you lied. And guess what? I really don't even care about the fact that you lied to me, but you lied to God. You did something intentional. So the question then becomes, what's in your heart? What's filling your heart? Peter told him immediately, why did you let Satan fill your heart? So now, how could this happen? Because the core of who you are is the heart. Remember, I told you a little while ago, God sees and knows your heart. See, Romans 8:27 says, and he who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with the will of God. See, at the end of the day, Peter was an apostle and he knew Jesus literally for himself. And so he wasn't able to be deceived. So an Ananias was able to be deceived when he wanted to keep something that he really could have given away or kept. Either way. So one of the first things you have to understand here is check your heart. What's really in your heart and what's really filling your heart? See, if you have a heart of honesty, the devil can't easily come in. So you have to make sure that you're honest no matter what. See, remember, he was dishonest from the beginning. So that led to ripple effects. Okay, let's keep going. Now, dishonesty creates the ripple effects. Remember, he dropped the rock or the lie and it grew, and then he was caught out there. Yes, I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. He got caught in his lie. And the thing about him being caught in his lie was that he couldn't say anything. He literally couldn't say anything. And so now to that end, here's something else that we need to understand. Accountability. Yes, a heart of honesty means that you have to be held accountable. And somebody somewhere will hold you accountable. But guess what? If nobody holds you accountable, God will hold you accountable. It's very true, because God sees and knows your heart. I keep saying it over and over again, because no matter what you say to somebody to try to convince them, it doesn't really matter, because God sees and knows the real heart of who you are. So when you're accountable, you have to figure out, who are you really lying to? See, if Ananias would have been honest with God, he really wouldn't have had a problem. And unfortunately, as the story continues, Ananias really learned what happens when God is not pleased with a dishonest heart. But God knows your heart and he holds you accountable, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you lack credibility. See, sometimes your word is all you have. Back in the day, it really meant a lot. A man's word meant everything. They used to shake hands on it, exchange shoes. They had all kinds of different rituals to prove that they were being honest. And so here, all Ananias did was make a comment. He started out by dropping the rock. The ripple effects grew, and the next thing you know, Peter confronted him and held him accountable to it. But the beautiful thing about the text is that he said, you didn't lie to men, you lied to God. So what do I want you to understand for today? I want you to understand that no matter what, be honest. That's it. I know it took me a long time to get to that whole point. Yeah, I know it was supposed to be fancy, but it wasn't. Just be honest. Tell the truth. See, one lie created a ripple effect that ended up leading into something very detrimental. So when you tell the truth, no matter how afraid you are, no matter how you're feeling, trust me, God knows your heart. And he'll love on you and bless you because of that. But don't allow the enemy or the devil to sneak in and make you feel as though deception or being deceiving or deceit is the way to go. Because guess what? God always looks to the heart. So don't let the devil fill your heart. Instead, let God fill your heart with love and honesty. So that way you are always credible. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. It was brief tonight. I know, right? Sometimes I can be extremely long-winded, but I wasn't today. So thank you for tuning in for our Oak Seed study session. I am so glad that you all decided to tune in. I thank you so much for your time. And listen, whenever you get a chance, you should really read into this story. It's really, really good. And I tried to cut it off at some of the earlier parts. So make sure you tune in next week, and we will see you for our next Oak Seeds study session. Have a blessed evening.